Hi, my name is Eric Blackburn, and this is my EDL 854 Building Finance Mod 12 case study video. Section 1 summarizes the case. I am Carl Santos, principal of Briardale Elementary. It's a diverse school serving 600 K through 5 students in the middle of the city. Curriculum decisions are made by the district, and monies funds what they view as important. Additional curriculum decisions are made by school site curriculum committee and school administrators to address the areas chosen. Parent foundations have been formed at all elementary schools. Foundations are headed by a parent volunteer. One mission of the foundation is fundraising to pay for supplemental curriculums. Money is raised by the foundation and handed over to the principal to be used. In the past, the foundation's supplemental curriculum recommendations have mirrored those of Mr. Santos, which was art, music, foreign language, and they have been accepted when presented to the local school site curriculum committee. Continuing on, this year, a new parent in the school, Mr. Barely, is leading the foundation. He's a graduate of Harvard University with quite a bit of involvement in his past with fundraising. He's focused on raising as much money as possible to compete with a former peer at Harvard who was a foundation leader at another school. This will allow the school to afford new and innovative curriculums in addition to what is currently available. When time for a fundraiser, Mr. Barely wants to replicate one used when he was in college and sell raffle tickets with the opportunity to win cash. Foundation was in favor of the idea, and they wanted this. And they went forward with it. Tickets were sold, but on the night of the winner was supposed to be announced and tickets were to be drawn. The local sheriff showed up, and Mr. Barely was asked to come down to the station where he was booked, released, and later convicted of a misdemeanor for his role in the fundraising raffle for cash event. The newspaper, of course, got wind of everything and ran on the front page. The whole situation paints the school, principal, and the foundation in a bad light as they ran the apparently illegal operation, which, among other things, ruined their opportunity for a successful fundraiser for the year. Reported legal and ethical issues, the reputations of Mr. Barely, the school foundation, Mr. Santos, the elementary school, as well as the entire district have been soiled by the event. In addition, supplemental curriculums that had been planned to be used for the year will likely not be purchased due to lack of successful fundraising event. This will have a negative impact on all students at the school. The decision to run a raffle for cash fundraiser violated some law as Mr. Barely was convicted of a misdemeanor for his role. The district would likely not be in any trouble as they did not collect any funds that was ill-gotten. However, if Briardale Elementary had knowingly accepted monies raised in any illegal way, Mr. Santos, would have been likely in legal trouble as well. Although the school does not run the foundation, they do have a responsibility to ensure that things are done in legal and ethical ways because of their connection. Continuing on, fundraising is a tricky area as the school cannot have any real power to tell an outside group they can or cannot carry out the fundraiser. They do have the option to decline the money, however, when it is presented to them. If the school is involved in the group, it does carry greater responsibility for it. Because of the historical partnership with the foundation, there would be an expectation that the school would provide some oversight for the group and help to ensure applicable laws and regulations are followed. Synthesizing what has happened in one sentence, the elementary school foundation, which raises money to purchase supplemental curriculums, held a raffle for cash event to raise funds, which resulted in the foundation president being arrested and convicted of a misdemeanor for running the illegal fundraising operation. Synthesizing the facts, the people involved was myself, Mr. Santos, the principal, and Mr. Barely, the Briardale Elementary Foundation president. The place was Briardale Elementary School. The entire situation is focused around the school. Mr. Barely was confronted by law enforcement during the fundraising event at the school. Programs impacted the public school utilizing creative funding tactics to best serve all of its students. All supplemental curricular programs such as art, music, foreign language, and any new programs the school site curriculum committee hoped to purchase for use will be negatively impacted, and this will have an influence on all 600 students enrolled at the school. Reviewing and prioritizing information, this issue has the potential to greatly damage to all stakeholders. The major fundraiser to support supplemental curriculum in the building is obviously a failure. One can reasonably assume that all funds collected will have to be returned to those purchased raffle tickets. I, as the principal, have a great stake in the outcome, as do parents, staff, and students at Briardale Elementary. I need to visit with the sheriff's office as well as the school's lawyer to determine what laws are broken and what the consequences will be. Additionally, I need to visit with the superintendent to make him fully aware of all that has occurred and my side of the story. I need to investigate if Mr. Barely was aware of the laws concerning raffle for cash events. Knowingly breaking the law is a bit different than not knowing that only 47 of the 50 states allow for fundraising like this. If he'd done this previously with no issues, it's reasonable that he would expect that they could continue to do it. Again, choosing to break the law is one thing. Not knowing and being ignorant to the law is a little bit different, although he should have probably checked into it, as should I as as principal. I also need to visit with other members of the foundation to determine if all others were truly on board with the raffle idea or if this was a rogue choice. Identifying my options. Option 1, allow the legal system to handle issues with the fundraising event. School employees were not running it. It was a parent group. This was a misstep by the foundation, not by the school. Hopefully the foundation can set up and carry out another fundraiser if we can still purchase supplemental curricular resources. If not, I guess we'll reuse materials from past years. Option 2, meet with Mr. Bailey and the rest of the foundation to discuss the events, acknowledge their efforts, but let them know that moving forward, a school employee will serve as the president of the group. This will allow for a greater level of administrative oversight and involvement in the fundraising efforts. I will allow them to weigh in on the new presidential appointment, but also ensure them that they are aware the school administration is making the final decision. It's no longer their choice. All future fundraiser events will be approved by local school administrators before final approval by the superintendent's office. Option 3, allow the foundation to continue to manage themselves. If they choose to keep Mr. Bailey as their president, support the decision, but increase school presence with the group. Let them know that you want them to continue to function the same way they have in the past. We want to have a partnership, but due to recent events, all future fundraising events and tactics will need to be pre-approved by myself if the foundation plans to donate the funds to the school. A fourth option, sever ties with the foundation. Although all other schools in the district have a similar parent group, the huge misstep by our group has painted the school in a very negative light. Moving forward, all supplemental curricular fundraising will be handled by school personnel. Parents can be part of the school site council as they take over the additional duty of fundraising. Evaluate the options. Options 1, to let the law handle everything. Positive, school would not be held responsible for the mishandling of the situation. Separation of parents led group and school is maintained. Negative thing about that is likely dissolution of the partnership with the foundation moving forward. The school would need to look for other fundraising partnerships, and the school would not take any responsibility, which is not a good look. Option 2, appoint staff member to take Mr. Bailey's place. A positive is that the school would have greater involvement and oversight to avoid similar instances in the future. A negative is that parents lose their power. There would then be likely a reduction in parent involvement and a reduction in fundraising results. Option 3, a positive with the admin approval for fundraising moving forward. A positive is the foundation is allowed to continue governing themselves, doing what they do. Additional oversight would likely reduce the likelihood of a repeat incident, and increased administrative presence would lead to increased relationships. A negative is that the foundation may feel as though they were being babysat. Members may be less likely to suggest innovative fundraising ideas for fear they'll be shut down by administration. Option 4, to sever ties with the foundation. A positive would be that the school shows that they're taking the event seriously, separating the school from the event. A negative would be a loss of parent involvement. It would put more on the plates of those in the site council, and there would be no opportunity for the foundation to show that they grew from the mistake. Choosing the best option, I'd go with option 3. Meet with the foundation to discuss the situation, allow them to choose what to do with Mr. Barley. The raffle for cash is a fairly common way to raise money. Unfortunately, it is not legal in all states. We could discuss that. Some people may question allowing Mr. Bailey to remain in his position, but if he owns his mistake and the rest of the foundation supports him, I do not think that it's the administration's job to remove him. People deserve an opportunity to show what they have grown. I would visit with the superintendent about my plan and for how to move forward and get their advice before doing anything. Implementing this decision, sorry, I kind of covered my face a little bit. I would first meet with the superintendent, let him know the situation and my plan of action to deal with it. I would then meet with Mr. Bailey to find out his side of the story and his frame of mind. From there, I would meet with the foundation to explain my choice, let them choose what they want to do with Mr. Bailey. Moving forward, I would require them to get approval from me, who would then get approval from the superintendent before any fundraising is done. I would meet with the sheriff's office to find out what they'd like to see done by the school and the foundation to rectify the situation and moving forward. Finally, I would host a town hall for all staff, parents, community members, and stakeholders to allow them to share their feelings and opinions and questions about the event to get some clarification and to be as transparent as possible. If the foundation does not like my plan, we would discuss alternative ways to increase administration's oversight concerning the group without them feeling as though they're being babysat. The goal is to avoid future situations like we have experienced while finding a way to maximizing fundraising to best benefit all students both today and in their future endeavors in life. Extra bits and pieces. Partnerships with parent groups is a great way to generate additional funding that is not earmarked by the state for specific purposes. It allows schools to add extra money to be used for specific needs as they see fit. Although school leaders are not the boss of a parent group, they do have a responsibility to ensure that all groups working with and supporting the school do so in ways that are ethically and morally rooted. Not mentioned in this case, but of high importance is the need to have multiple policies and procedures in place to limit opportunities for fraud related to fundraising and money. Having two parties present when money is changing hands, it is totaled, as well as during any efforts to reconcile the totals. And additional extra bits, it is the responsibility of the foundation to ensure that they collect their funds as they are a parent organization. With that said, because they're working under the umbrella of the school, stolen funds are going to be considered stolen from the school. Audits should be done by school administration. School principal does need to own some of the responsibility for the incident in this case. They are the head of everything related to the school and they should ensure nothing like this happens. I predict that lost funds from the illegal fundraiser will greatly reduce funds available for the school to purchase supplemental curriculum for the year. Funds will need to be allocated from the general curricular fund to help cover the costs. School leaders must be resourceful and think outside the box when faced with budget cuts. They need to find ways to reuse resources and find cost-effective and free resources. Other resources that aren't budgeted can come from donations, fundraisers, grants, things of that nature. Example of competing interest in budget development. What do parents view as important versus what does the district view versus what does local administration feel is important to budget for? Thank you for viewing my video.